Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about I hit confirm and there's no tip. Doordash driver slams company office party who made her set up and drive 20 miles. So I think we could all chalk this up to no tip, no trip, but there's a couple of things in the headline that definitely throw me off. Number one is made her set up food. There's only one type of order where that would be the case, and that's a catering order. And the other thing is that they made you drive 20 miles and they didn't tip. Wouldn't the order be not valuable enough for you to want to take it to begin with? I feel like there's a lot of things not being said here, but let's find out. So with that said, I want to go over everything that's being said in this article, how it actually is for Doordash, UberEats, and Grubhub drivers, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. In a video caption, some days are good, some days are bad with Doordash. Today is just one of those days. TikToker Most Side Hustles at Most Side Hustles 2 told her viewers about her frustrating experiences with an unnamed company that couldn't be bothered to reward her efforts to deliver their food. I'm going to leave her TikTok as well as her profile in the description so you can develop your own opinions on the subject. Mo posted her story to TikTok on Wednesday, and it's already picked up 19,000 views. Things you do for content, huh?
I just delivered a catering bag order for $10.78 plus $3 setup. So $13.78 to go 21.6 miles. One way.
But because the order was for catering and not takeout, she assumed she would be given a generous tip. All right, so first of all, there's a couple of key things here. Number one, she made sure she got paid for the setup. The setup fee was $3. That's something catering drivers are expected to do. They gotta set up like a buffet style setup, unless specifically asked otherwise. But the other point there is that it was $13.78 to go 21.6 miles one way. Why would you do that? Why would you even consider taking this order? This sounds like a horrendous order. Never assume that they're gonna tip after. The people that tend to tip after are also the ones that tip before. What's going on here?
I'm way too curious to see how this plays out.
I believe that is a poor decision.
Maybe, but it's mine to make.
I usually have pretty good luck catering bag orders, so I thought, this is obviously going to a company. They're paying for, some employee meeting or whatever. They're going to give a percentage of the tip.
It's funny. I find that office parties specifically, unless they go through catering, they usually tip ass. Like, I remember my stepfather telling me about a coworker who handles all the catering, and they always tip $5. It doesn't matter for what. It doesn't matter how much food, always just $5. And in this day and age, they don't even tip at all. So don't assume they're gonna tip in cash. That is just a terrible expectation. Remember, no tip, no trip. Not no tip, it's a catering order, so assume they'll tip after. Not no tip, it's an office party, so assume they'll tip after. No tip, no trip. It's that simple. She arrived and found out that a food container had leaked in her bag. She proceeded to clean up the order and help set up the catering spread. She then discovered that her hopes for a tip were futile despite her best efforts. Exactly. You can't expect that they're gonna have a tip on the app after. That's nonsense. Like, seriously, why would you do that to yourself? Like, you just wasted, I don't know, how much time for $13.78? Like, why would you do that? Should have declined it right off the bat.
I hit confirm and there's no tip. None. No tip. Zero. So I'm like, do I say something? So I said, I don't mean to be this way. I'm so sorry, but I drove 20 miles and there's no tip on here.
Specifically because you asked, I'm not gonna tip you.
As if they were gonna tip you to begin with. Mo says she was then brought to a supervisor's office and told to just put a $10 tip on there. I can't do that, Mo says, seemingly referring to a limitation on the Dasher app preventing her from adding tips to orders on customers' behalf. Yeah, we can't just add a tip for you. It doesn't work that way. It never has. You would have to do that yourself. Imagine if that was the case. Imagine if we could set it up like that. No, we can't. Although it would be nice to be able to set our her own rates on DoorDash, not gonna lie. Mo did at least earn a great deal of sympathy from her viewers. Ugh, oh my goodness, you poor bag. What a pain. No tip. Infuriating. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Great job for using your voice, a viewer wrote. Okay, I don't mean to be that guy. There are some people who could just get away with these kind of stories, and others that would be like,
I tip after service. Why should I tip you? I don't think I should tip drivers. Get a real job. Ah!
or at least that's just my experience. And from drivers' perspectives, it would sound a little bit more like,
You know, you could have just declined the order.
which really, that's exactly my argument. You really should have just declined the order. Why would you do that? It was so backwards, the amount of driving you had with the amount of order that you had. Why would you do that? That sounds ridiculous.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna Hey, you wanted this, right? You wanted the real deal? That's what this is. Wake up. You're in the middle of it. You wanna run? Go ahead. No one's stopping you. Stop complaining.
I stopped doing Instacart runs because I was driving all over for $7 on large orders with no tip. Ran out of gas on a run once, a former gig worker commented. Really though? How do you manage to screw that up? Like on DoorDash, if you're like a super new person, I can understand you taking no tip orders, but then you learn from it. On Instacart, they literally tell you there are no tips on these orders. You have less than no excuse. Not to mention with those $7 orders, first of all, they cut the base pay from $7 to $4. That's number one. Number two, there is no reasonable way that you could justify any sort of hard work like shopping for a lot of heavy items without a proper amount of pay. Like why?
I'm gonna play this one out.
I believe that is a poor decision.
Probably, but it's mine to make.
You know, he wasn't wrong.
This is the grossest thing.
Another driver pointed out, catering orders usually pay well with a large hidden tip. Did do one 10 miles for $16.50, and that was the total amount, not usually the norm. Okay, but see, here's the thing with that statement. $16.50 for 10 miles. The mileage is a little high, but that's still a good dollars to mile ratio in comparison to what she was getting, which was $13.78 for 21.6 miles. That makes no sense. Now, granted, with DoorDash, the hidden tip system's a little funky, but you gotta educate yourself if you're a DoorDash driver on how to do that. I made a video talking all about that. I will leave that video in the description. Feel free to check it out. Mo replied, yes, my best catering order was like $82. Hey, see, that's a really good catering order. That's a catering order worth taking. None of this $13.78 for 21.6 miles nonsense.
These parameters are acceptable.
This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. It is 120% irresponsible to take no tip orders, even if you think that there's going to be a tip after. You can't assume that you could talk to somebody's boss and expect them to do the right thing after they screwed you over. It's called no tip, no trip. Not no tip, expect them to tip in cash after. Not no tip, do the order begrudgingly. Not no tip, maybe get a surprise later. No tip, no trip. The people who end up tipping after also tip before. Don't expect the wrong people to do the right thing. Ever. And that's not just for DoorDash. That's for all of these apps. DoorDash, UberEats, Grubhub, Instacart, Deliver that. The list goes on. Like I said, just do yourself a favor and make sure that you're making the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way by working with quality customers that tip prior and not with crappy customers that expect you to set up their office party and not tip you at all. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.